Hello and welcome to another edition of It's a Sports Show. Took us by surprise there for a second. You gotta
Yeah, you
look
didn't
out
even
for
have time
us,
to say fine
Fine
edition.
edition. Show 152. I'm Scott Cray, as always, alongside me, Dolphin Paul. And pretty much nothing but NFL talk today. Last week we talked about everything. This week we're moving on just NFL.
And as the show is in Rhode Island, my market, it is Thursday, 7 o'clock. And of course, people not watching the end of the football games. They're tuning into It's a Sports Show.
It's a darn shame for the NFL.
That's right. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there probably sleeping and snoring from a full day of turkey eating, dessert eating.
And if not, you'll be sleeping and snoring by the time this show is over. We can guarantee it.
Even halfway.
Blame it on the turkey. It's got that ingredient in there that makes you sleepy.
The week of football, so we get a little bit of time. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays.
Why is that? Because you get to fill
food,
the old pot.
There's football, you get together.
And you get to sleep.
Well, you get together with the family. I'm not much of a napper, but I mean, there's an extra game this year for those of you who have NFL Network. We'll be able to watch the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos. So there's 3 games this year.
For those of you who have
NFL Network, you've got to have NFL Network. I mean, if you call Cox Digital Cable.
I don't mind Thanksgiving. I mean, I usually get kind of gassy, which isn't good.
That's not good news for us here.
But, as far as you don't get to wear costumes and you don't get presents. So
perfect.
Yeah, no, I want presents.
It's real. It's more real than the Christmas rush and
we're
running
so
around.
far from the Pilgrims and how this all began.
Yeah, we just Thanksgiving, turkey, football, like John Matt said. My Dolphins are on at 12:30.
What's your favorite dish on the table? Side dishes, main dishes, one single dish that is your favorite thing on the table.
Probably.
And it could be specific to something you get every year that others
the turkey's
don't.
real good, but that's only once a year. I love turkey on Thanksgiving, but I'm not like I don't eat turkey sandwiches throughout the year. A good fresh turkey once a year is perfect.
Sure.
I'd probably have to say side dishes because my mother-in-law makes a fantastic meal. I'm a mashed potato guy, so I love mashed potatoes. But we have the stuffing and corn and regular potatoes and everything.
So potatoes, if you could pick one dish, would potatoes be the one?
Mashed potatoes, I think.
How about you, Jen? Jen behind the production glass there. I'm curious to know what her favorite dish is. Squash, like the butternut squash? Yeah. That orangey squash with cinnamon, brown sugar.
That's too healthy for me. That's vegetable.
Yeah.
I like mashed
potatoes. You don't even do
baby.
The vegetables. They pass the peas, you keep passing them
on. And then I float away, and then
my favorite dish?
Come back for dessert.
The black olives.
That stunned me right there. That stunned me that the black olives is your favorite dish.
Why is that?
It just stunned me, that's all.
Where you going, Paul? No, the black olives are my favorite.
Well, you belong at Portuguese restaurants because they put black olives in everything.
Everything. Rice, fish, black olives everywhere.
That's a good holiday. On Friday, there's some college football, so it's a good weekend. It kicks off the big shopping season.
I haven't gotten into the college football thing. I tried to watch some of the big game last weekend.
I mean, on Friday, there's the traditional games, Texas A&M, Louisville. LSU and Arkansas play a real good football game in the SEC. So
what do we got in NFL? Is it the standard Detroit, Dallas?
Well, you got Detroit, Dallas, of course.
Right.
You got Miami at Detroit.
Yeah.
And you got Tampa at Dallas. So the games aren't great unless you're a Miami fan. We won 3 in a row.
Get to see Miami. Nothing wrong there.
So I'm a little excited to see if they can win their 4th in a row, which is probably too little, too late. But it'd be, it's better than, having only 1 or 2 wins. So.
Sure.
That's the first game, and then you got Dallas, Tampa. Then on the NFL Network, of course, you got the Chiefs and Broncos, which is a pretty good game. So nice holiday.
Bad deal.
Nice holiday to kick off the holiday season. I'm excited.
Olives.
Black olives.
Unpitted. Black olives, because I don't want a pit in there. Anyway, let's move on. Ready? Here we go. Your standard Patriot fan on Monday. Patriots, best team in the NFL. Tom Brady, MVP. He's got nothing on Manning. Unbelievable.
I think all the channels just switched.
It's exactly what we said last week. At least I bashed listeners and found it humorous that they would jump off the bandwagon so quickly because they played a stinker of a game 2 in a row. Now all of a sudden they blow away Green Bay and it's, Patriots on top of the world. We're right back in it. We learned, blah, blah, blah.
Especially towards the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniel, who was highly criticized. And where's Charlie Weiss? And now they come back. And let's say this. I mean, the Patriots came back. They played their typical
absolutely
bounce-back game and just completely dominated the Green Bay Packers. the numbers were staggering. The Packers had like 120 total yards of offense.
Total yards.
They couldn't do anything.
Time of possession was ridiculous. Every aspect of the game was a
Patriots
blowout.
dominated. I think their game plan was terrific. They executed to a T. Tom Brady, 4 touchdowns, came back strong. Rashae Caldwell is starting to become a little bit of a go-to guy for Tom Brady.
Against a crappy Green Bay defense. I know people are tuning in right now and they're saying, there goes Scott again, taking anything away from the Patriots you can. I give him credit. You should take advantage of bad defenses, and they did. But let's keep things in perspective here. You didn't score 35 points against, Carolina.
That remains a big question. I know a lot of Patriot fans probably get aggravated, but that's the big question. The Patriots have not beat the upper echelon teams, i.e. Colts, Broncos. So they got a big game coming up this week against the Bears, and this will be telling. But it's a good spot for New England because the Bears are on their 3rd straight road game, which is usually a recipe for disaster. But, hey, the Patriots did a great job. Defensively, they completely shut down the Packers, although I was watching Miami, so I didn't see the game, but I saw highlights. Brett Favre in the first half was terrible. And again,
he was terrible, and then he got hurt.
I'm not trying to take anything away from New England, but he had wide open guys.
But that's what Brett Favre does. That's why, he
had been playing well up to this point, so the
Right.
Packers were actually playing pretty well. I thought it'd be a much better game. I thought the Packers would at least score, and they haven't, obviously they didn't score at all. I mean, it's a complete domination by the Patriots.
Right.
Then Aaron Rodgers comes in the second half, and he breaks his foot. He's out for the year, so Favre's back. But, I mean, you got to admit, even though the people who are sour on Favre, he was
season.
playing pretty well
Right.
up to that game. But I guess when you start to break down that late in your career like Favre is, you're probably going to have those games. And believe me, I don't want him to break Marino's record. I think he only needs like 11 touchdowns for 420.
Yeah, he's not far away. And unfortunately, he probably is going to break it because I don't even think that this is going to be his last year, despite everything they went through in the offseason.
Oh, boy. I think he should. I
was a little surprised because I wish I could remember who it was. He was an ex-player that analyzes the NFL on ESPN all the time. And he said after this year's over, there's going to be, he said, 20 NFL teams right now could use Brett Favre as their starting quarterback.
You're going to have a real good football team.
I think it was Chris Mortensen that was saying
You're going to have a real good football team. And
to plug him in.
Him be the last piece. And you're going to have a running game. I don't care. It's just not the same. I mean, our bodies break down. Not everybody can stay preserved like I am. I mean, it takes a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of Thanksgiving dinners.
A lot of Thanksgiving dinners to stay preserved.
A lot of mashed potatoes, pal.
Mashed potatoes and black olives and squash,
Well, it seems as though Brett Favre, you only usually see it in the playoffs. Even a few years ago, would just make bad decisions and throw bad passes. Not because his arm is shot, but because he's made bad decisions where he throws them up there. We've seen that over the last couple of years.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit because this isn't the same bad passes. I mean, these aren't passes being forced into triple coverage. These are guys wide open, which the normal Brett Favre would fire it in there.
You're talking about the Pats game.
Right. I'm talking about the Pats game. I mean, in the past, Favre has been a gunslinger and has taken a lot of chances. But you know what? He's made great plays, too.
Sure.
The guy's been a great quarterback. I don't want to take anything
plays
away from him. But those passes he missed was just inaccurate.
Right.
I don't think it was something where he was trying to force things. He had a couple guys like wide open. You can't miss those passes.
Well,
conversely, Tom Brady bounced back huge, and he hit all his guys. So
Favre took a tackle that was made for the movies. When your legs are locked up and then a guy comes from the top. Nice defensive.
I'm surprised it wasn't a penalty on that play because he was engaged. I know he was on top.
Yeah, but he wasn't really going down either, though.
And Bruschi didn't hit him real hard.
No, Bruschi didn't take a lick on him.
I understand that, but usually, you know how the quarterbacks are. Somebody's got their leg wrapped, and all of a sudden, it's that they stop blowing the whistle. So he was kind of caught there and leaning back. And
right.
I mean, Bruschi could have took a real shot at him,
and he didn't.
I guess he did. Yeah, to his credit, he didn't.
But it was enough that Brett had, with arms and legs tied up, he had nowhere to go to brace himself and fell straight on the elbow. So now the question is, this guy's been playing games forever consecutively, and I should have wrote down the number, but the fact of the matter is, this guy hasn't he has not been the starter in so long that it's going to be up in the air to find out what actually will happen.
Well,
is he the Monday night game?
They said this week he's going to be fine. They said if he really, really had to, he could have come in that game.
Well, he said he kind of felt a little weak in the arm area. So, breaking over back to the Patriots again, everything went as it should have. Tom Brady was on top of the game. The running game was pretty darn good, too. I mean,
Lawrence Maroney, who continues to progress and play well as a rookie. They're now 7-3. Denver lost, which is one of the Patriots' nemesis who has their number. They're 7-3.
Right.
Obviously, they have the tiebreaker against New England because they beat them. Denver lost Sunday night against a team who's really surging. The San Diego Chargers. That's a good football team. I'll tell you that.
They're coming around for themselves.
I mean, they're 8-2, and I hate to understate, but I'm talking about a good football team. I mean, this is probably one of the top teams in AFC, if not all of football.
Well, top offense, that's for sure.
Well, hey, listen, we talked about the San Diego getting rid of Breeze.
Yep.
But, Philip Rivers has stepped right in. He's had time to sit, ideal situation, and they got possibly, and I say possibly in very strong terms, one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Absolutely.
I mean, he probably is one of the greatest, but
he already is one of the greatest. He's having a career year when you didn't think he could have a better year.
The quickest to like 89 touchdowns. He's had 16
LaDainian
touchdowns.
Tomlinson, of course, we're talking about.
In 7 weeks. I mean, the guy's unbelievable, and that helps out. The only thing the only doubt I have about San Diego is I'm not a big Marty Schottenheimer fan when he gets into the playoffs. He tends to be conservative, and I know people said, what's conservative, handing off to a great back? No, but I think it's the situation, the time left in the game. You got to stay aggressive sometimes in the playoffs.
There's nothing
He's
really
been known to, kind of
get conservative.
Put the brakes on in the playoffs.
It would be a shame if he did do that because there's nothing conservative about this offense at all. They're 4-0 at home. 332 points for is the highest in the NFL. And obviously LT has everything to do with this, but...
And the only team in the NFL history to play consecutive games where they were down by 17 points or more and come back and win. I mean, that's pretty impressive in itself.
They know how to pour it on, that's for sure.
So you got them, you got Denver, who I guess Patriot fans will be rooting against.
Yep.
So New England can get, obviously, in a better position in the playoffs. And it's ironic, if the season ended today, the Pats would host Denver. How ironic would that be? Which I think a lot of fans don't want.
New England at 7-3, falling pretty good overall record-wise in the NFL. No more undefeated team. The Indianapolis finally.
Undefeated. The 72 Dolphins can pop that cork.
Would you ever have expected that Indianapolis would have lost this week when you looked at their schedule?
Yeah,
did you kind of see it coming?
I did. I mean, I didn't see.
Dallas hasn't exactly been great.
I didn't see the loss coming, but I think it's one of those spots where everything just lines up. It's on the road. Dallas had been playing pretty good. Romo's playing pretty good. And, it's so hard these days. I mean, to go undefeated, I just think is almost darn near impossible.
You're just sucking up the pride of your 72 Dolphins.
That was 100 years ago. That's the only thing I can hold on to.
Do they pop a champagne cork every time?
I think they do, believe it or not.
Arrogant. That's arrogant. Soon the 72 Dolphins will be washed away from this planet Earth, and they won't be around to pop any more champagne corks due to their arrogance.
Well, AFC East, speaking of the Dolphins, they won their third game in a row, probably a little too late, but, New England's coming down in a few weeks, which... Miami always plays tough at home. And
Miami's going on this streak a lot earlier than they did last year. So.
Yeah, but they still got themselves into a big hole. So it's ironic because in years past, if you remember, they used to get off to 6-1, 6-2, 7-1, and then fold down the stretch. Now they're doing a little opposite. But, they're playing a little better football. We'll see. They should beat Detroit on Thanksgiving. I dread to say that because, when you should beat or have to win, that's always...
what happens.
The Jets, who were one game behind in New England, lost a tough one at home to the Bears, who, they faltered a little bit against Miami.
Right.
Then they had that good game against the Giants, and now they went into New York and shut the Jets down. The Jets don't have a high-powered offense, but they're still a pretty decent football team. That Bears defense is something to be reckoned with, and this will be an interesting game this week at New England. But I do like New England's game. We were talking about the spots.
Yep.
I just think this is one of those spots, the third road game for Chicago. New England back at home. They haven't played well at home. They got the new turf.
They're coming off a big win.
I like New England in this spot. I'm going to predict it now that New England
I don't know,
will win
man.
this football
I
game.
mean, if they do, you're not going to see them put up 35 points on the board, and you're not going to see Tom Brady go 300+, and even their running game is going to be
suspect. I would say no, but the Bears' offense is...
The Bears are stingy.
Their offense is a little bit suspect, though. But
if Chicago's defense keeps them in it, you might have yourself you could even end up with like a 10-7 game. It all depends on how well the Patriots... defense plays more than anything else, because just like Chicago's D is going to keep Chicago in the game and has done so all season long, I think that the Patriots are going to have a tough time scoring on offense. The Patriots D also has to keep them in the game.
I think the Patriots D will do a good job because Chicago's offense isn't very good.
Right.
Or at least, I shouldn't say isn't very good. They're not high powered. They're very conservative. Rex Grossman's had up and down games. I think the key will be, as always, when you've got a running game, Thomas Jones been running well.
Yep.
The defense, it's always a field position game.
Right.
You know, you try to get the special team, the punt. You know, if you can give the Bears a short field at the Patriots 30, 40. So this is going to be your classic chess match of field position. And
they're going to battle back and forth.
I think it is going to be, like you said, maybe, 17-10, 17-13,
Should be a close game.
21-17. I think it's a pretty good football game. But like I said, I like
It's
New
very
England in the
cliche. I hate to say it, but field position and turnovers, all dependent on how that turnover battle is going to be won or
We've
lost.
talked about this before. And if you're on the losing end, like Patriot fans were last week, you say, "Oh, we played bad. We created turnovers." If you're the other team, you're like, "Oh, we forced turnovers. We play."
Right.
But that's what the game's about. And the Patriots lately have been saying that you got to bring your A game every week in the NFL because there's a lot of parity. It doesn't matter if you're the Colts or look at Houston. They went into Philly.
Right.
And beat up on the Philadelphia Eagles. And McNabb went out, but that was in the first half. So, you can't lay down on anybody. It's a tough league.
And especially there are certain teams like Philly, the Patriots, the Colts, where regardless of how good a team is in the NFL, they are going to turn it up a notch against you. They circle that game on the schedule at the beginning of the year because they know that it's going to be a big deal if they could take you down.
Listen, I know firsthand because of my fantasy team.
Yep.
I stink this year, my fantasy team. I'm a defending champ. Everybody
year.
Everybody is gunning for me.
Oh, they're all targeting you.
They give me their best game, so that's why my fantasy team is
So
really
you know
struggling.
exactly how
I
the
know how
Patriots feel.
feel. You got that big bullseye on your back.
Well, I lost Donovan McNabb, so now I'm pretty much sure I'm going to just hang up my season even with, several weeks to go. Carolina, I wanted to talk about them for a bit. Their defense, you expect their defense to be Carolina's defense. They started off the season not quite as good defensively, but have really managed to put some games together. But New Orleans still tied with them at 6-4. It's pretty amazing to me that division is as tight as it is, with Atlanta being 5-5. You haven't heard squat from Atlanta all season long, yet they're still a 500
Carolina
team.
started slow.
Right. And both ends of the spectrum.
Well, Steve Smith was out too, but I'll tell you, for some reason, I like that football team. I could be called Panther Paul here real soon.
Panther Paul.
No, I like that football team. I think they're so well coached. I think Delhomme as a QB is pretty good. I think Steve Smith is probably, top 3 definitely of wide receivers in the league, and they played a good defensive style. And they're not 3 yards in a cloud of dust either. They're aggressive. So I think they'll eventually come out of that division. New Orleans had kind of an odd game. Drew Brees threw for over 500 yards,
right.
but he had a couple of interceptions. Cincinnati, your Bengals.
I don't know what's going on with
Went
them.
into New Orleans, and I thought that was a game that Cincinnati would lay down because they had such a big lead last week, and they blew it.
Right.
They went in there, and they beat them. I mean, Carson Palmer and Chad Johnson, they put on a show. So Cincinnati now is back in it at 5-5, albeit, they mixed in with the Jets, maybe Kansas City, who's 6-4.
Yep.
So, that was a huge game for them, needless to say, to try to get back into the wild card race. But Carolina and New Orleans, that's going to be an interesting race there. I still give Carolina the edge, and I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. If they can get on and run with the type of team they have, as long as they stay injury-free, I think Carolina could still come out of the NFC. I really do.
Steve Smith is ridiculous.
He's unbelievable.
When you look at
he's not a big receiver either.
Right.
But he goes up. He out-muscles people, out-positions people. I like him. I like him a lot.
That makes me think of, when you say great receivers, I think of terrible receivers, and he is a product of his team, one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Oakland Raiders. Randy Moss saying at the end of the year, just trade me. And it's funny that you are a product of your team. Randy Moss, I have to believe, is still a great wide receiver with talent beyond talent. However, his team just flat out stinks.
Yeah, and you know what?
They're throwing, by the way, they're throwing like 32, 33% of all passes to Randy Moss. So he can't complain he's not getting the ball.
I'd love to have him in Miami reunited with Dante Culpepper, but the guy's just bad news. You say that at the end of the year. I understand it. It must be tough to play when you know you have no shot to win. You're going to lose a lot of your games. But come to the end of the year, say, you know what? It's been a long year. I've put in the effort, but I like to win, and I really would like to be. You know what I mean? To say, I only play when I want. If I don't feel good, I'm not going to play good.
Right.
That's kind of a
well. Let's not forget, Randy Moss went where the money was. He didn't go where the winning team was. So I say the punishment for you, Randy Moss, is you deal with what you dealt with yourself. He's another guy I'll throw under the fruit tree. Because he went to Oakland
Yeah, but he got
for more
traded,
money.
though. He got traded, though. But he wanted out of Minnesota, but
Right.
he got traded.
But that's what I'm saying. It all came down to, he'd actually have been better off in Minnesota. Would you not agree to that for the
Right
most
now,
part?
yeah. Right now, yes. He's kind of a lost soul. It'd be interesting to see who takes a chance on him.
He's the lost soul
Next
in
year.
all of the NFL.
It'd be interesting to see who trades for him and what do you give up. I wouldn't give up no more than like a third or fourth round, even though he's
Because Oakland's got to get rid of him.
well because of his attitude.
Right. Though, I hate to say this, but the guy was worse earlier in his career. If you forget about the last year,
Well, he's
2
no
years,
TO. I mean, he's
Right.
not like a.
But Randy Moss
disruptive.
was worse.
He
at
he
one
plays
point.
when he wants. That's the bottom line.
It takes
if
plays
you can
up.
bring him into a good situation with a good coach, that's going to be up to the coach to decide.
Right.
Somebody have to take a chance on him. I'm sure they'd love to see him in New England. Heck, I'd love to see him in Miami. But the problem is you got to hold your breath with what he's going to say or what he's going to do. If he's not getting, him and Culpepper had a thing a while back. So I don't know if that's a good situation. But that Raiders situation, that whole situation is a mess.
Sure it is.
Al Davis, he needs to retire.
My San Francisco 49ers, only a game out of first from Seattle. Write that down this week.
Want to know how many teams you got? Cincinnati.
San Fran and Cincy.
I want to keep a little better track of this.
San Fran's looking good, man. I don't know what's going on with
Hey,
Seattle. I think we
Great
expected
job. They're
bigger
5-5.
things.
They won game out of first place. Mike Nolan, he put the suit on.
Yep.
Frank Gore, who
How about we got to talk about that for a second? I don't know if you know the story behind all this. It's he's got a suit on the sidelines, right? It's a Reebok suit, and that has very little to do with it, the fact that it's a Reebok suit. But he asked for permission from the NFL 2 years ago to be allowed to dress as an authoritative figure. Authoritative? Jen will correct me on that English. Authoritative figure. He needed permission to wear a suit on the sidelines, and it took 2 years for the NFL to give it to him. And I'm someone that supports the suit, man. I look at Belichick, and he looks like a bum on the sidelines the way that guy looks sometimes. I'm a huge fan of the suit. Why would a head coach need permission to wear a suit as an authoritative figure? You're the head coach, for crying out loud. Am I missing something here?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Reebok sponsors the NFL. End of story.
I don't understand.
Reebok sponsors the NFL as far
Okay.
as all the clothes.
Okay.
So you can't wear like a Nike jumpsuit on the sideline. Everything has to be Reebok. That's why all these coaches
But he needed.
wear hats.
So couldn't he just go to like the men's warehouse and wear a suit?
No, because it's not Reebok.
So it had to be a Reebok suit.
Notice, Reebok made these suits.
Right.
These are Reebok suits, even though they don't have a big R in the lapel or
Well, I'm
anything.
sure Reebok did not just make the suit.
Yes.
Are you telling me it took 2 years for Reebok to make a suit, and that's
No, it
when
didn't take-
the NFL finally gave him permission? Is when Reebok made the
2
suit?
years. It's just, I don't know how long the process took, but he's been wanting to do it. This year they decided to let him and Jack Del Rio do it.
I think that
In the old days, that's what everybody used to wear.
Well,
If you remember Tom Landry with the hat.
we had a
and
conversation
Paul Brown
about
a long
this like
time
a
ago.
year ago. I think that all coaches should be wearing suits on the sideline. I think it looks classy, and I think it makes you look like an authoritative figure. You're not running out on the field during a game. Why do you have to be dressed in sweats?
I would agree with you in that aspect. The only thing I would say, I think between a suit and Belichick would be fun.
Something in
If they
between.
could come up with a nice Reebok outfit,
Well, you look at like
I
a
don't
Bill
think you need
Cowher.
to-
He
I don't
does
think
the
you
mock
need-
turtleneck
Yeah, I
and
don't
pants.
think you need to see the suit to say, oh, that's the coach. But
Suit and a hat.
I agree with you. I think that they should come up with some type of uniform in between the suit
And the sweats.
Belichick's cut off sweats.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I personally, I'm not a big suit guy. So if I was on the sideline, I wouldn't be wanting to wear a suit. As a matter of fact, a lot of people disagree with me, but I see these NFL players, and
Yeah.
I know it's their job and everybody has to go to work, but you're still playing football. These guys, they play Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
They're done at midnight, and they come out in a three-piece suit dressed to the nines.
I think that's outstanding.
I'd want to put on sweatpants, a sweatshirt.
So how
after
did
a
you
long
feel
game.
about the NBA going that route before the season started, where they had to do the same? They had to be, dressed coming on and off the bus at all times. Did you feel as though that was unnecessary and that?
Well, but yeah, I
Kinda
do
the same
feel that's
scenario.
unnecessary. Yeah, I mean, dressed well is one thing.
Right.
This
guy's a multi-million dollars, people. They
Well,
should be
that's
walking
exactly-
around like they are.
Yeah, but why? Why? I don't see. If I played a football game till 12:30, my body's aching.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna go there and put the tie on and everything.
You're making millions of dollars, and you're dressed all day in your sweats. The least you could do is put on a good suit and be presentable at the
Money
end
does not
of
make
the
a
day.
man. Neither does a suit.
Yeah, tell them that. How much time we got left, Jen? We're gonna be winding down shortly. 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
All right, where else you want to go in the NFL?
As you can see, we have no dress code here, and it's a sports show.
Damn straight.
We
I
just
look like
bring
a scarecrow.
our team stuff when we win. When we lose, we
Is
don't
this-
wear anything.
Is this Bengal orange and brown? Do they have brown in their uniform? No, apparently not.
Let me see. It's a sports show. Fined $2.50. Scott Cray for being out here. I mean,
Dress-
look at that.
dress
Can't you
like-
represent it's a sports show?
Dressed like a scarecrow. I look good today. Look at me. Jen, don't I look good today?
Look like you belong out in Seattle in the grunge
Oh,
band.
this is good. Yeah, it's my early 90s Nirvana days, you
Yeah.
know, coming back. I need a shave.
Gillette razor wouldn't hurt you either.
Well, see, now if I shaved my throat and had a nice carve in there going on, I'd look professional.
Here goes a few more
What do I got to do next? Trim my nose hairs? My ear hairs?
Well, that's about
All
it.
my hairs?
That's about it. In the NFL, we got the Baltimore Ravens are
Yes.
8-2. No other big surprises.
Hockey, Bruins won,
Some
big deal.
Thanksgiving Day games. The Celtics
Basketball,
are playing a tad better.
Celtics are playing a little better, big deal.
The Dice Clay watch is on. The Red Sox, of course, have 30 days
As
to.
we talked about
We
it
talked about that and
last
I
week.
said it would probably be more than 42
And you
million.
were right, 'cause they-
$51 million
That's
just to
ridiculous.
negotiate with Dicey
The Dice Man.
The Dice Man.
Matsusaki. Mitsubishi.
Hey, if he can be a number
Hitachi.
one, if he can be a number one purchase, not bad.
Leonardo.
Alfonso Soriano with a mega deal.
Yeah, and
The
I told you
sixth
before the
largest in
show,
history.
this was amazing to me. Alfonso Soriano signs, what was it, 5-year,
I think it was like 6,
6 year,
136.
yeah, 136, you got it. It was like over 20 mil a year, okay? Now, you're coming off the season he had. That's expected.
I think it would actually, it might be, I thought it was between 15 and 20. I thought it was like around 17, 18. Anyway,
Maybe
it's a
there
mega
was a
deal.
little bonus.
It's
So
a
it's a
mega
mega deal. Sixth most lucrative deal in MLB history. Soriano, I understand. On the list, and not in this order, A-Rod, I understand.
Yep.
Manny, we all know about that. Jeter, okay. You know who's on that list? You say it, because I
Todd
can't.
Helton?
I can't say it again. Todd Helton signed an 11-year, it was like 110, 50 mil. It wasn't worth a lot per year, but an 11-year Todd Helton. I'm trying to remember when Todd Helton might have signed this deal and might have been good enough to have deserved that deal.
Well,
It's amazing to me how a player in his last year, contract year, they can go and play unbelievable. And it's usually in baseball. Next thing you know, they got the most lucrative deal in Major League Baseball
Alfonso
history.
Soriano.
Everybody forgets about what he did prior to that.
Alfonso
Soriano's
Soriano,
not.
I wasn't going to say that. I'm just saying.
He came off a great year, but he's been
that's
good.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Mean, nothing
Yeah.
you can do short of
No.
murdering somebody or absolutely violating
Even
your
in the
contract.
case of murder,
Yeah,
I
you never
believe
know.
he will still
you get
cash
100
in.
and something million for the next 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is.
I'd be happy with
That's
0.001% of that.
I
Hey, we
mean,
got to wrap things
we're
up.
gonna
Show
talk to our
152
attorneys
is
here,
done.
and it's a sports show because these
Our
contracts are
agents.
getting out.
We got to work on
Agents.
our agents. It's a sports show is done. It's a sports show.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Is our email.
Happy Thanksgiving to all
Enjoy
the
your
folks.
black olives, squash, and mashed potatoes, everybody. Thanks for watching.